Welcome back to Virginia This Morning. This Partners in Healthcare segment is sponsored by Home Instead Senior Care. To us, it's personal.
In the next 10 years, the number of seniors is on track to equal the number of 20 to 35-year-olds. And even now, the sandwich generation caring for senior family members is stretched pretty thin. How do you bridge the gap? Torsten and Teresa Steinfatt with Home Instead Senior Care share a few ideas. Thanks for coming in, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
We were talking during the break, and this really is a common situation for a lot of folks. Tell me a little bit about Home Instead Senior Care.
Sure. Home Instead Senior Care, you're absolutely right. It is a common problem. About 15 years ago, Home Instead Senior Care originally started in Omaha, Nebraska, and the problem was that the gentleman who started the business out there found that he had a grandmother who needed various services that he wasn't able to find resources for in the community, and he started seeing the trend that was coming. Coincidentally, about 12 years ago, Teresa and I realized through a personal situation with her family in Pennsylvania, and we were kind of extended caregivers, if you will, that her family was having a similar problem. And that caused us to look at what was happening with the senior population and the statistics that you've just quoted. And that's how we got into Home Instead Senior Care 12 years ago here in Richmond, Virginia.
And you've, in starting 12 years ago, you've probably seen this situation just grow and grow and grow, and more people become, as they become more familiar with what you do, there's a lot of common themes there.
Yeah, very much so. And what we found really was when we originally got into this is that folks saw home care as something that a nurse provided. And it was always a nurse that was providing the care. And what we found was when we looked at this, Medicare pays for what nurses will do. But there are families that are in situations where they need light housekeeping and meal preparation, and they need to run errands, and they need transportation to appointments, some assistance with bathing, dressing, that sort of thing. And these are things that nurses don't typically provide. And so it becomes a personal care or a companion care type situation, and that's what our niche is, and that's what we've stuck with.
And many times family members are not around to be able to provide these extra things that allow someone to remain independent and stay at home. And that's where we step in at Home Instead.
It's incredibly difficult because time is at such a premium. How do you make all of those ends meet? And I'm sure when you start meeting with families, the response is pretty favorable.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Can you, now seniors can connect with you, or families? How do you go about actually getting involved?
Typically, a family will connect with us through either through some sort of advertising efforts we've made or through a referral from a healthcare professional. And a lot of times they'll be in crisis. They won't have a lot of time to make decisions. And what we try to do is come out and have a consultative visit with them, talk about what exactly is it that mom or dad or your spouse needs. Is it just a visit here and there? Is it someone to stay with you overnight? There's various situations that seniors have in their 80s that they get concerned about. And we can fulfill most of those needs. And we'll talk about what schedule makes sense. And then we'll talk about what type of caregiver they would like to see. You know, do they want someone who's more talkative, more energetic, or does their family want someone that way? Or are they more interested in someone who's just going to be there if they need them and not be so interactive? And then we try very hard to match someone that matches their needs, and then we'll also make sure to follow up and make sure that that person's continuing to meet their needs going forward.
So it's definitely very individual.
Very individual, absolutely.
And it's really important to understand the family's needs, and there's many times a lot of dynamics that go along with that. So we spend the time that's required to help them through this crisis situation, and many times we try to be ahead of that too, and being a resource to them before it becomes crisis mode.
Well, fantastic. You guys provide a great service. Thanks for sharing with us today.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Home Instead Senior Care, one of the partners in healthcare, has been helping families since 1997. Give them a call, 527-1100, or visit online homeinstead.com/Richmond-VA.